Hello and welcome to Bible Study with Alice, and today we're on day 137, Psalm 137 of our daily psalm reading. We're reading from the ESV translation, but you're more than welcome to join us from a different translation. As you can see, we are on Psalm 137, and these videos are filmed in real time. Today's date's the 20th of March 25 and it's a Thursday. You can find the previous 136 psalms in the playlist below. There is a disclaimer as usual, and that is one, these videos are unedited and also I'll probably stumble my wording. Let's get started. How shall we sing the Lord's song by the waters of Babylon? There we sat down and wept when we remember Zion. On the willow there we hung up our lyres, for there our captors required us songs, and our tormentors mirth, saying, Sing us one of the songs of Zion. How shall we sing the Lord's songs in a foreign land? If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget its skill. Let my tongue stick to the roof of my mouth. If I do not remember you, I do not set Jerusalem above my highest joy. Remember, O Lord, against the Edomites, the day of Jerusalem, how they said, lay it bare down to its foundations, O daughter of Babylon, doomed to be destroyed. Blessed shall he be who repays you with what you have done to us. Blessed shall he be who takes our little ones and dust them against the rock. So that is Psalm 137 complete, and tomorrow we'll be doing Psalm 138. So that's the first half of the video complete. For those who are new, I split the video into three parts. The first part is obviously reading the psalm. The second part we talk about the psalm time periods, and then the third part we will talk about the psalm that we just read. So with the time periods of the psalms, they're written over a 1,000-year time period. They're written by multiple different authors. There are some authors that we don't know who they are, so it would be deemed as unknown author. There are quite a chunk of psalms where we do know who the author is, and the main author generally is King David, but they're not always necessarily going to be King David. And there are quite a few psalms where historians and scholars do know when those psalms are written. They do have an idea of the time period, they have an idea of the event and all that linked to the psalms. But then we do have those psalms where the time period is unknown, but there is an event linked to it, and that event could be Babylonian exile, could be war, conflict, could be famine, poverty, during a king's reign, that sort of thing. And then you have those psalms where it's unknown, as in it's an unknown author, unknown time period, and the event is also listed as unknown. So then the historians and scholars don't really then know anything much more about that, just that those psalms are written. So with Psalm 137, it was written after the Babylonian exile, which was after, during the 586 to 539 BC is after the Babylonian exile. It's a lament, which we'll discuss in a moment, that expression grief and longing of the Israelites during their Babylonian exile, focusing on their inability to sing to the Lord songs in a foreign land and justice for their oppressors. So when I said about lament, and we're going to discuss it in a moment, we're going to go to the start of the book of Psalms, because that's where I wrote about it. And so a lament is a type of prayer or song that is a cry for God to act in the midst of pain and grief. So obviously, in that case, their pain and grief is obviously what they had suffered during the Babylonian exile, and their longing of the Israelites. and they're focusing on their inability to do anything with the Lord, and they just want justice for their oppressors. So that is obviously their pain and their grief. Here are all the psalms that are lament, and I have actually added it in as 137. Above our individual laments, as a personal feeling, they are the most common type of psalm, which is actually what it is. Most of the psalms are lament. Not all, but obviously there are quite a chunk that are. And they often begin with an invocation to God, followed by the lament, and request for help ends with an expression of trust in God. So what happens there is they will start their lament with an invocation to God. Invocation basically means inviting God in. It's an invite. And then that's then followed by the lament, their pain, the grief, all that sort of stuff. And then you request, or they will request, whoever it is, help from God. And then it ends with an expression of trust in God that lament will be dealt with. Case in point. So when we do our prayer, depending on what our prayer is, and we've got pain and grief going on, we obviously invite God in. That's the invocation. We then obviously express to God what that lament is, what that pain, that grief is. And then we follow that then by a request for help from God. And then we leave the lament with an expression of trust that God will help us, will fulfill our prayer, our lament. And then obviously then you leave that with God, and then God will deal with it. That's how a lament is basically operates on. So we go back to Psalm 137. So in this case, they obviously opened it up with obviously expressing their grief, their longing of the Israelites during the Babylonian exile, and then they're focusing on their inability though to sing can't think. So they're focusing their inability to sing the Lord's song in a foreign land, but they also want justice for their oppressors. So that is basically what Psalm 137 is all about. I will now write in the day and the date, which I'm going to do like an arrow and then, oh gosh, do it up here. So, day 137, and it's the 20th of March 25. So that's done. And then tomorrow we will do Psalm 138. Thank you for watching. Please like my content. Please subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it if you could do that. And please turn on the notification bell so you then get notified of content like this that gets uploaded to the channel. Thank you and goodbye.